Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Prince Harry has popped up online again and he was communicating with a UK based charity yet again, and everyone has noticed the way in which he looks very distressed, very run down and pretty much broken. It seems that Harry has not been eating. It looks like he's lost a lot of weight, a substantial loss of weight. I know we're all in lockdown, so we're not probably all looking as glamorous as we could, but he looks remarkably different from the last time he popped up online with Meghan's famous words of "You're not just thriving, but you're not just surviving, but you're thriving." He does not look like he's thriving at all. His complexion was extremely pale. His hair was frazzled. It looked electrocuted or some description. I don't know what's going on with Prince Harry, but it seems that he is struggling with life in LA. And reports have been coming to the surface, numerous reports have been floating around, and I'm sure you have read some yourself, that Harry has been struggling to cope. We know that he reached out to Skippy, who is a longtime friend that he met at Eton, and it seems to all be true. He's not having a great time. They was recently contacting the LAPD police department regarding drones flying over the mansion, but surely they should have mentally been prepared for this. They moved to LA of all places, and they moved into Tyler Perry's home, so they should have been aware of this. It seems that Harry has been caught off guard and he's very distressed. It just seems like he's making these charity calls more for himself rather than anybody else. I think that the communication possibly between him and Megxie has broken down at this point, and I think he's realised what has gone down, and he looks like someone who's had enough and wants to just come home and end the Bonnie and Clyde display of affection that he's got going on with Megxie. It says here, which from the article that I read, the Duke of Sussex has praised young volunteers working with a charity who are delivering food packages to vulnerable people in London. Prince Harry, who is currently living in Tyler Perry's $18 million mansion in LA, spoke with 3 youngsters working with Street Gates who are volunteering for the Sport at Heart charity. In a clip shared on the Street Gates Twitter page today, Prince Harry praised volunteers, saying, "You guys can speak better than I can, but actually helping people makes you feel better." So he was given his usual supportive speech, and there was no sarcastic jibes at the British taxpayer this time. He kept it quite frank and right down the line. Have you guys noted the correlation between Prince William doing positive things in the community over here in the UK, contacting their charities, having a laugh and joke with them, and then suddenly Meghan or Harry seem to pop up like they're trying to steal the limelight? I'm sure you guys have already seen this, because we know that Meghan likes to do this. She likes to eclipse people's special moments, and that has been well documented. She likes to imitate, steal the limelight, make it all about her. She'd done this to Serena Williams at Wimbledon. She was meant to be there supporting her friend. She made it about her. She said, "Don't take pictures of me." People couldn't take pictures. They spent thousands of pounds to sit in Wimbledon, of all places, a very prestigious place, not cheap at all to get into, and they was refrained from taking pictures and stopped from taking pictures because Meghan was there. Now, if I had paid an exorbitant amount of money to sit in Wimbledon to watch a tennis match, especially by the great Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players to have ever lived, if not arguably the greatest tennis player to have ever lived, I would want a picture of her, and I wouldn't want some woman who I didn't know about 2 or 3 years ago rolling up and essentially telling me that I can't get my value for my money. I want my picture of an icon, a true icon. The reality of it is Meghan is not an icon, and people, I'm sure 100%, were not trying to get pictures of her. And there were various reports that came out of people who had attended saying that we wasn't trying to get pictures of her. We were trying to get pictures of Serena Williams. That's what we really came for. That's what we paid for. We didn't pay to see her. We wasn't interested in her. I just find this character that he's adopted and assumed, this rivalry, they are definitely trying to rival the Cambridges. But the reality of it is that they lost a very long time ago. They're obsessed with people being allegedly obsessed with them. Now, I can understand the drone issue. I can understand that people are flying drones over the mansion, but they're not flying drones over the mansion because they're iconic of any description. It's because they simply want their pictures. We know that it's possibly a paparazzi agency or an independent paparazzi, and you know they will do absolutely anything, break privacy laws to get photos. That's what they do in LA. It's much more hands-off, especially now that they have no royal protection. They're finished. I can understand them being a bit unnerved by that, but I think that Megxie and Harry are verging on paranoia now, and Harry looks very paranoid. He doesn't look... He's a former shadow of himself. He looks destroyed, like he's been broken internally by this process of disrespecting his family, leaving his culture and customs behind, and it's not serving him in any way, shape or form. I'm going to carry on and read the rest. The royal appeared relaxed as he chatted with the volunteers over video call, apparently sitting outside in a part of the home he is currently staying in. Speaking to the volunteers over video call, Prince Harry said, "You understand the importance of being outside and using sport and outside activities to stay fit, not just physically fit, but mentally fit as well." He added, "Stay safe. You're doing such amazing work, and thank you so much for being so kind and compassionate and caring to others. Sport at the Heart is a Brent-based charity which has been delivering food and essential supplies to the community during the COVID. It was one of 7 that Prince Harry and Meghan asked wedding guests to donate to on their wedding day." So that's his links to the charity. So it's an organisation that they've obviously been supporting for a long time. What I really don't understand about this dynamic of Harry constantly popping up is that we have a situation going on in America, and I can't exactly say it's just a situation. It's an extremely large problem. And I'm sure everybody by now has heard of a name, George Floyd. So George Floyd was unfortunately beamed across the world, and we know what happened. And it was distressing for all of us to watch and all of us to witness. This has now sparked riots, and these riots are spreading across the United States like a bush wildfire. Meghan and Harry left the UK because they felt that they needed to do everything in their power to protect baby Archie. From what? I'm not sure, because baby Archie has less protection now than he ever did. He's more vulnerable. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, America's a hellhole, because I would be lying. I know that America is not a hellhole. What I'm saying is the privileges that come with being royal and being protected by the Queen's seal is far greater than any A-lister could ever have. A-listers get broken into. A-listers get stalked. They get harassed. I saw a story about Chris Brown a couple of years ago where a lady actually broke into his mansion, made a full meal for herself. I think she made several. Bathed in his shower, actually got herself dressed, was wearing his clothes, and went to sleep in his bed. And he actually had to call the police on her himself. She was an obsessive stalking fan. If you Google this, you will see it. It's quite funny. These are the types of things that can happen to A-listers, unfortunately. They are but people. underneath the fame, and things go wrong. Security breaches do happen. With the royal family, they have such protection. They have privacy laws that actually ban the media from printing and doing certain things. They can receive serious penalties, fines, and prosecutions if they breach their privacy, because they're like an old artifact. They're protected. They've walked away from that, and they have no real protection. They're just like any other celebrity now. And at that, we know that they're not the richest. So they're struggling right now. And now we have these extremely angry people due to what has happened. I understand their anger. I understand their anguish and their pain. I am a woman of colour, so I totally understand it. But Megxie and Harry are in the thick of this. They're in the thick of this. So I think that this has contributed to Harry's dishevelled appearance. I think that the anxiety is getting to him. We know that Harry is an extremely emotional person, can be fragile. He has been fragile since being in this marriage. It seems that he hasn't really been told the full truth of anything. He just seems like a lost puppy, a love-struck puppy, and it's wound him up in a very dangerous situation right now. If they do not get the funds that they need, and we know they don't have much money, hence the pressure on the book, it's not looking good for them, is it? A lot of people commented on this article and they picked out what I picked out and what you guys have possibly seen by now, and I couldn't agree more with them. So someone said, seems to be working more now. He wants to be private than he ever did when he was a working royal. He looks rough, like he's aged 10 years and 6 months. And he does. Harry looks really rough. He looks bad. And he seems to only have one top. I don't know if that's a jibe at us talking about Meghan's spending habits. But wasn't he wearing this same shirt in the last video call? I think he was. Someone's put, why should anyone listen to a homeless ex-royal who can't even provide baby Archie with a permanent home? Poor couch surfing baby. Harry should be ashamed of himself. I'm sure he does feel ashamed. Someone else has put, shut up, take a bath, cut your hair and get a divorce. Someone else put, preaching hypocrite, thousands of miles away from the poor in London while draining the already bankrupt public funds. Sickening. Someone else has written, Harry eats a damn sandwich. Someone else wrote, get a job. I think that's going to be difficult for him to do now. But anywho, someone else has put, is that the only shirt he has? He looks rough. He does. Harry, you look rough. If you do anything and watch this video, take care of yourself. You need to look in the mirror, Harry. Someone else has put, why is Harry looking such a mess? He appears scruffy, unkempt, dishevelled, and not at all well. He needs to stop pontificating. Someone else has written, look at him. He looks like a homeless guy with mental health issues. Someone else has put, his poor choices appear to be taking their toll on his looks, joyless and unhappy. Bigger fool you. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I think we can all summarize, or you can deduce from that what you will. Harry, it seems like the chicken's coming home to roost. I think that's the expression. Anyway, bye guys.